The ROG Phone has always been a personal favorite of mine. I've been using the ROG Phone 6 as one of my daily drivers since it launched, and I've been reviewing the series ever since its inception. Now 3 generations beyond my trusty ROG Phone 6, I'm finally at the point where I have to ask myself, is now really the best time to upgrade? With the ROG Phone 9 Pro in hand, I'm here to examine how much has changed from the 6 to the 9, and whether that justifies its price tag. I'm Kevin Evangelista, and this is my ROG Phone 9 Pro review. But before we continue with the video, let's keep the lights on here in the studio. This video was brought to you by Sneak Attack Design Lab. They're a clothing company that specializes in technical fashion, more commonly known as techwear, and you can see me in their clothes in most of my videos. I've been supporting their brand ever since I met them back in 2019, and now they're returning the favor. Head on over to the link in the description to get 10% off of your order from their site. Check their clothes out. You're bound to see something badass over there that'll look great on you. Thank you very much to Sneak Attack for this exclusive promo for my viewers. Now, back to the video. As with all my reviews, we start on the outside. The ROG Phone 9 Pro presents itself as a sleek, black candy bar style smartphone. It measures 163.8mm tall, 76.8mm wide, and is just 8.9mm thick. Like most modern phones, it features a flat back, flat sides, and smoothly rounded edges that feel fantastic in the hand. Notably, it has ditched the curved back design we last saw on the ROG Phone 7 in favor of the shape introduced by the ROG Phone 8. At 227 grams, it is heftier compared to its peers like the Galaxy S25 Ultra, which tips the scale at around 190 grams. But as I'll explain later, there is a valid reason for all that extra weight. The build remains true to the ROG tradition, a glass-on-metal-on-glass sandwich. The back is fashioned from texture-etched Gorilla Glass, encased in an aluminum frame and capped with Gorilla Glass 2 Victus on the front. And of course, the signature Anime Vision Mini LED display still makes an appearance at the back, a neat array of 648 white and red lights that can show notifications, statuses, and even run little games. It's a fun little gimmick that has been part of the series for a long time, though I personally keep it off because it's a tad too flashy for my tastes. The tactile feel of the ROG Phone 9 Pro is spot on. The buttons are delightfully clicky and strategically placed on the right side, meaning the right side, and the 2 capacitive shoulder buttons remain, proving invaluable when it comes to gaming. Connectivity hasn't received any compromises. We still have 2 USB-C ports. Now, however, both the side and the bottom ports support 65-watt charging. The side port doubles with DisplayPort 1.4 out, which is a nifty bonus. The phone supports either a dual nano SIM configuration or a nano SIM combined with an eSIM, and yes, the ever-reliable 3.5mm audio port is still here. For an audiophile like me, and gamers who appreciate high-res sound output that can hit up to 384 kHz/32-bit with Dirac virtual processing, that's a feature I truly value. Speaking of audio, the speakers remain predictably top-notch. They're loud, clear, and tuned so that even at high volumes, the sound stays neutral without leaning too heavily on bass or mids. And it sounds like this. Now, doesn't that sound really good? Let's move on to one of my favorite parts, the display. The ROG Phone series has always championed one of the best screens available in the flagship, and the 9 Pro is no exception. It features a 6.78-inch LTPO AMOLED display with a 1080 by 2400 resolution. Supporting HDR10, it reliably pushes 1600 nits of brightness and can even peak at an astonishing 2500 nits, coupled with an ultra-smooth 185Hz refresh rate. There's also an under-display fingerprint scanner, and in practical use, media viewing becomes an absolute treat. Deep, inky blacks, breathtaking brightness, and vibrant saturation make for a very immersive experience whether you're streaming HDR content or just gaming away. Minor quirks such as the inevitable hole punch for the front cam and some rounded corner artifacts and game UIs hardly matter once you're absorbed in the display's absolute brilliance. I absolutely love this display. While most physical attributes of the ROG Phone 9 Pro are solid and actually standard for the series, there is one thing that I can't abide by, and it's the yay thick camera bump. It's simply too large. When you set the phone down, the bump causes it to rest at an awkward angle and even results in slight rocking when pressed. And I noticed that the glass on the camera module touches the table directly because there's no protective lip. Asus, please, either reduce the bump or add a lip around the edge. I refuse to compromise on the peace of mind that comes from a well-protected device, especially since I prefer to carry my phones naked. Don't force me to use a case on this. Speaking of cases, in true ROG fashion, the phone arrives with some thoughtful extras. Inside the box, you'll find two cases, a full body case for complete protection, and an Aero case that lets you keep your phone attached to the Aero Active Cooler X Pro without needing to remove it. A neat detail is found in these cases as well. Previous generations placed speakers in positions that forced bezel compromises, but here the design has evolved. The earpiece speaker is subtly integrated into the frame, while the bottom speaker has shifted next to the USB-C port. To overcome potential occlusions when using a case, ROG added a little rubber half ring that seals the speaker area and ensures the sound isn't compromised. And speaking of cool extras, the Aero Active Cooler X Pro is here once again, updated for the 9 Pro. It clips onto the back and connects via the side USB-C port, adding not only a powerful fan and thermoelectric cooling for those extended gaming sessions, but also a subwoofer that kicks in when connected. And it sounds like this. Hearing that subwoofer in action makes the phone sound as if it were a small Bluetooth speaker. It's unexpectedly fun and very effective. Alright, we're finished with outside, let's take a peek inside. The ROG Phone 9 Pro is powered by the bleeding-edge Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset paired with the Adreno 830 GPU. It's available in a couple of configurations, a version with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage, or a top-tier offering with 24 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. This spec sheet not only surpasses most flagships from Samsung and Huawei, but also reinforces what the ROG brand stands for: maximum performance without compromise. And underneath all that power lies a 5800 mAh battery. It supports 65 watts wired charging, 15 watts wireless charging, and even 10 watts of reverse wired charging. And yeah, I reviewed ROG phones long enough to recall when they packed 6000 mAh batteries in this. So while the battery life on the 9 Pro is more than adequate, I've gone 2 days without charging it, I can't help but feel there was room for improvement. Or maybe it was high time for an upgrade. If Asus could have reduced the camera bump, made the phone thicker, put in like an 8000 mAh battery in there with the 100 watt charging, that would have been an improvement, but I digress. Moving on to the camera, it is an upgrade worth noting. The main sensor is the new Sony Lightyear 700, a 50-megapixel f1.9 24mm shooter that now offers video shooting in HLG10, HDR10, and HDR10 Plus modes. Complementing it is a 32-megapixel f2.43x telephoto and a 13-megapixel f2.2 120-degree ultra-wide sensor. While these produce photos and videos that are okay by today's standards, nowhere near what you'd expect from a top-end Galaxy or an iPhone, they're more than enough for a flagship that's really laser-focused on gaming. Plus, video stabilization has been boosted with a 6-axis gimbal system for smoother footage. Here are some example shots. The ROG Phone 9 Pro runs Android 15 with Asus's near-stock optimized skin, which means you don't have to wade through bloatware. Stock apps are clean and unobtrusive. Armoury Crate, the phone's control app, lives up to its reputation. It stays out of your way during gameplay, yet remains a quick swipe away when you need to toggle performance modes like X Mode or experiment with the new AI features. Features like XSense 3.0 for automating in-game tasks like leveling up your skills or picking up items, and X Capture Capture 2.0 for capturing those epic moments automatically, not needing to toggle your video screen recording. But fortunately, they're all off by default because I'm an old fart and I don't welcome AI that way, because most of the time I just want the game without any AI fuzzing around. Alright, time to see if the internals live up to the hype. In Geekbench, the ROG Phone 9 Pro scored 3,099 points on single-core and 9,749 on multi-core, which are pretty respectable results by any standard. Then, during 3D Mark's Solar Bay test, the phone managed an impressive 9,551 points with an average of 36 FPS, while the Wildlife Extreme test pushed it to 5,597 points and an average of 33 FPS, benchmarks that even surpassed the Galaxy S35 Ultra in these particular tests. Moving on to gaming, and it's where the ROG Phone 9 Pro truly shines. In Genshin Impact, a title that once pushed mobile hardware to its limits, the 9 Pro comfortably maintains a smooth 60 FPS, even in the thick of action. It can actually run faster than that, but Genshin Impact is a 60 FPS capped game, and we see a 1% low of 50 FPS in this game. Then for a more demanding experience, Grid Legends is run at max settings, delivering an average of 64 FPS with a 1% low of 49 FPS. Granted, in this game, 64 FPS is way short of the screen's astounding 185Hz capability, but this is at max settings. Dialing things back a bit would definitely unlock extra headroom. Here's an especially exciting demonstration. I managed to run the PC version of GTA 5 via GameSir Game Hub right on the ROG Phone 9 Pro. Yes, no streaming, this is the actual game running on the phone, and it achieved an average of 55 FPS at high settings and crowd density. And we also got a 1% low of 32 FPS. This is a feat that challenges the notion of what smartphones should be able to do, inspiring a thought that maybe PC and console titles should consider native Android releases more often. And before we wrap up performance, it's important to note how the phone handles heat. Armoury Crate enforces a 55 degrees Celsius limit on the phone, at which point the CPU and GPU throttle to maintain safe temperatures. And in practice, I feel like it should start enforcing that limit way earlier because I experienced more than a few times of the ROG Phone 9 heating up so much that it became uncomfortable to hold. But anyways, in solar-based stress test, the phone was able to score a best loop of 9,514 points with a max temperature of 51 degrees Celsius out of all the 20 runs, while in Wildlife Extreme stress test, a heavier endeavor was able to score a best loop of 5,105 points with a max temperature of 53 degrees Celsius out of all the 20 runs. I even ran these tests with the Aeroactive X Pro cooler maxed out, and it was able to boost scores to 9,551 points and 5,593 points and bring temps down to 44 degrees Celsius and 46 degrees Celsius respectively. The fan did become noticeably loud like this. But it performed admirably well in keeping the device cool and running strong. So, what's the final word? Despite layers of incremental design tweaks and repaints over the years, the core mission of the ROG Phone remains unchanged. The 9 Pro is a flagship smartphone built for gamers. It boasts the best display available, the most powerful chipset, the highest RAM and storage configurations, and the largest battery Asus can fit into such a form factor. While its stock camera performance is just good enough, and the nearly stock Android experience isn't revolutionary or even new, when it comes to pure gaming prowess, the ROG Phone 9 Pro predictably excels. Its asking price of 76,995 Philippine pesos, or in the US, $1,000 is very steep. But if you're like me, and you're after the ultimate mobile gaming experience, it is a very worthwhile investment, one that I'm actually ready to make. Take my money, ROG. I'm keeping this. So that wraps up my review of the ROG Phone 9 Pro. If you have any questions, leave them down in a comment and I'll do my best to answer them. While you're there, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. That's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.